HYGGE, The Happy Danish Art of Life, written by Victor Franson, narrated by Thomas Cassidy. Introduction. HYGGE, pronounced hygge, not hygge, is a Danish word used when acknowledging a feeling or moment, whether alone or with friends, at home or out, ordinary or extraordinary, as cozy, charming, or special. HYGGE, or to be hyggelikt, doesn't require learning how to, adopting it as a lifestyle, or buying anything. It's not a thing, and anyone telling you different either doesn't understand it or is literally trying to sell you something that has nothing to do with the concept. You can't buy a HYGGE living room, and there's no HYGGE foods to eat. HYGGE literally only requires a conscious appreciation, a certain slowness, and the ability to not just be present, but recognize and enjoy the present. That's why so many people distill HYGGE down to being a feeling. Because if you don't feel HYGGE, you probably aren't using the word right. Some also refer to HYGGE as an art of creating intimacy, either with yourself, friends, and your home. While there's no one English word to describe HYGGE, several can be used interchangeably to describe the idea of HYGGE, such as coziness, charm, happiness, contentedness, security, familiarity, comfort, reassurance, kinship, and simpleness. Danes created HYGGE because they were trying to survive boredom, cold, dark, and sameness, and the undefinable feeling of HYGGE was a way for them to find moments to celebrate or acknowledge and to break up the day, months, or years. With so many cold, dark days, the simple act of a candle glowing with a cup of coffee in the morning, or a home-cooked evening meal with friends, can make a huge difference to one's spirit. By creating simple rituals without effort, such as brewing real tea with a little china cup every evening, to stopping at the flower shop every week. The Danes see both the domestic and personal life as an art form, and not even drudgery to get away from. They incorporate HYGGE into their daily life so it becomes a natural extension, rather than a forced and stressful event. So whether it's making coffee a verb by creating a ritual of making it every morning, to a cozy evening in with friends where you're just enjoying each other's company, to the simple act of lighting a candle with every meal. HYGGE is just about being aware of a good moment. Chapter 1. HYGGE, the Danish art of coziness. Hard to explain, and even harder to pronounce, the Danish word HYGGE, pronounced HYGGE, has exploded in popularity around the world. It translates roughly to coziness, but it means so much more than that. So what is HYGGE really? We've created this handy introduction to the Danish way of life known as HYGGE. What does HYGGE mean? HYGGE is as Danish as roast pork, and in many ways is the essence that lights up the Danish soul. HYGGE actually comes from a Norwegian word meaning well-being. It first appeared in Danish writing in the 18th century, and has been embraced by the Danes ever since. HYGGE is a tricky word to define. It's a feeling, an experience, a sensation. It means creating a warm atmosphere. It is enjoying the good things in life with good people. The warm amber glow of candlelight is HYGGE. Stomping through woods wrapped up warm on a fresh autumn day before returning to a fireside for hot cocoa is definitely HYGGE. Friends and family, that's HYGGE too. There's nothing more HYGGE than sitting round a table discussing the big and small things in life. Perhaps HYGGE explains why the Danes are some of the happiest people in the world. The high season of HYGGE. The high season of HYGGE is Christmas, when Danes pull out all the HYGGE stops. Danish winters are long and dark, and so the Danes fight the darkness with their best weapon, HYGGE, and the millions of candles that go with it. Ever been to Tivoli Gardens or walked the streets of Copenhagen during the festive season? Then you know what Danes can do with lighting and mulled wine, known as gløgg. If you haven't, you should experience it. how you can hygge at home. Hygge is more than a cozy room full of candles, company and good food. Hygge is a philosophy, a way of life that has helped Danes understand the importance of simplicity, time to unwind, and slowing down the pace of life. So hygge may have started here, but you can definitely start practicing it at home. Create space and time to do nothing but enjoy the little things with family and friends, and you're on your way to a hyggelig home. Chapter 2. Hygge. 9 ways to be more Danish. Before we go anywhere, let's point out the elephant in the room. Hygge, pronounced hygge, is probably, one of the most overhyped trends to ever exist. At one point towards the end of 2016, you couldn't move for an avalanche of books. The Heart of Hygge, How to Hygge, and Hygge, a celebration of simple pleasures. The list goes on. Hundreds of lifestyle newspaper features telling you to be more hygge, and endless department store winter displays featuring lots of lovely pillows. So sure, it's a twee, almost cringe-worthy trend, but it's also nearly impossible to argue with the appeal of all things warm and comforting, right? With that in mind, we've rounded up 9 ways to achieve more hygge in our lives. Pastries at the ready. Buy candles. Have you ever noticed how there's always a candlelit garden, teamed with twinkling lights, fireflies, and an open fire in romantic comedies? Well, it looks like this is a ploy by Hollywood to tap into our desire to have more hygge. According to the European Candle Association, Danes burn more candles per head than anywhere in Europe. Such is their devotion to hygge. When you go home tonight, light some candles, wrap yourself up in a blanket, and drink a warming cup of hot chocolate. Make theebierkes. Theebierkes, Danish poppy seed rolls, are to Denmark what pasta is to Italy. The Danes eat around 10 kilos of pastries and cakes each year, and are most famed for their Danish pastry, otherwise known as wheatebrød. So it makes sense that they're all so happy. They're eating pastry all day long. A big part of hygge is indulging in what you enjoy and never denying yourself of enjoyment. Try baking a tray of buttered dough theebierkes covered in poppy seeds and eat your way to hygge. Cycle everywhere. Regularly voted one of the happiest countries in the world, Denmark is well known for its devotion to bicycles. In fact, in Copenhagen there are more bikes than inhabitants, with almost 400 kilometers of biking lanes throughout the city. As exercise increases levels of dopamine in your brain, the happy hormone, try spending at least 2.5 hours partaking in the aerobic exercise to raise your heart rate and enjoy some fresh air. Start dropping the word hygge into everyday conversation. I can't come out tonight, I'm going to get some hygge. Have you seen what Rachel is wearing? She's so hygge at the moment. Anyone have a lighter? I want to light some candles before the party to give it that hygge feel. The more you talk about hygge, the easier it'll be to achieve it. Wicking advises, our language shapes our behaviour, and our behaviour shapes our happiness. A rose by any other name may still smell as sweet, but it should have a name. Feel free to use ours. It's called hygge. The word hygge will be your new best friend. Don't stay late after work. Danes value their family and spare time highly. This, coupled with it getting dark around 4 p.m. in the winter, means they love nothing more than finishing work on time and heading home to spend time with their loved ones. Women work an average of 35 hours a week, compared to 41 hours a week for men, and employees are expected to work Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. As a result, Danes don't appreciate working overtime or staying late to finish their work. Adopt the Dane work ethic by working intensely during the day and clock off on time to go home and eat dinner with family and friends. Take lunch at 11 a.m. Given the early morning starts, Danes usually take their lunch break around 11 a.m. It may seem early, but given we start to get hunger pangs around mid-morning, it kind of makes sense to eat a big lunch early on during the day to provide a profitable bout of energy for the afternoon. Make porridge. Whipping up a bowl of porridge with a cup of tea is a great way of finding hygge and bringing a sense of togetherness with the family. In Denmark, porridge isn't just a breakfast staple, but a common dish served among families at dinner. So, it's the perfect and easy excuse to indulge in some oats, topped with cinnamon and apple in the winter months for warmth. Wear black. If you've ever been to Denmark, you'd be mistaken for thinking all of the women are part-time ninjas, such as their predominantly black-coloured wardrobe. Minimalism is key to Danish fashion, with many Danes preferring to boast an understated image with neutral-coloured apparel, with a slight note of individualism through details such as piercings, structuring, a beanie or a white pump. Also, the fact black absorbs heat and the temperature in Denmark can drop to minus 25 degrees, it kind of makes sense that Danes are happy all the time. They're warm. Dress for the weather. If you've ever been caught out in the rain without an umbrella, stepped into a puddle in open-toe sandals, or shivered at the slightest turn of the dial on the air conditioning, do as the Danes and dress for the weather. And yes, that does mean layers, waterproof coats and Wellington boots in winter. Chapter 3. Embrace hygge like happy Norwegians. Norway was just named the happiest country in the world. Why are they so darn happy, and what exactly is hygge? Once again, despite frigid Arctic temperatures and months of darkness, the happiest people on the planet apparently live in Nordic countries. As mentioned, Norway jumped up 3 spots to claim the title of world's happiest country for the first time. Denmark, the previous winner for 3 years in a row, dropped to second. These countries were followed by Iceland, Switzerland, Finland, Netherlands, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, and Sweden. In case you're wondering, the US came in 14th place, dropping down 1 spot from last year. Europe didn't fare so well either. Germany was ranked 16, the United Kingdom 19, France 31, and Italy 48. Not surprisingly, people in the Central African Republic are unhappiest with their lives, according to the survey, followed by Burundi, Tanzania, Syria, and Rwanda. In the end, as in past years, Norwegian countries took most of the top spots. Could the reason they are so darn happy have to do with the Danish term hygge? If you're from or have visited a Scandinavian country, maybe you know about this funny word that's hard to pronounce. To say the word, try puckering your lips and aim for a throaty word somewhere between hygge and hygge. Kind of like the beginning of the song, Hooked on a Feeling. The good news is, it's easier to embrace hygge than to pronounce. Hygge is also difficult to define, but is translated loosely into the English word coziness, and is associated with relaxation, indulgence, and gratitude. However, Norwegians would probably argue there's much more to the word. Hygge requires being present in a moment, whether it be simple, soothing, or special. That brings you comfort, contentment, or pleasure. The word refers to the ability to enjoy the simple and good things in life with people you love. Hygge can describe soft candlelight, comfort foods like a pork roast, or homemade cinnamon pastries, sitting by the fire on a cold night with fuzzy socks, or simply being kinder to yourself and others. It's about transforming an afternoon cup of tea into an event with friends. Some people translate the word as coziness of the soul. So let's get back to this year's happiness report and see what hygge has to do with the results. The report looks at several happiness indicators indicating a nation's per capita GDP, gross domestic product, often used to measure a country's economic growth, social programs, life expectancy, freedom, generosity, and corruption. It should be noted that although people in Nordic countries are comparatively well off financially, the report proved that money does not equal happiness. This is shown by the surprising fact that Costa Ricans are apparently happier than much wealthier Americans. Another economic powerhouse, Japan, ranked poorly at 51. Mexicans and Guatemalans scored happier than the Japanese, even though they are much poorer. Some would argue that Norwegians are better able to appreciate the small but comforting things in life, or hygge, because they already have all their basic necessities in place. That includes free university education, social security, universal healthcare, paid family leave, and at least a month of vacation time a year. With their basic needs met, Nordic countries can focus on their well-being and what truly brings them a better quality of life. Maybe that's true, but we can learn a few lessons from the Norwegians and the way they live. The idea of practicing hygge is carried over into their work as well as recreational activities. Working overtime and on weekends? Unheard of in Nordic countries. Most businesses shut down before 5 p.m. In addition, Norwegians have proven to be less materialistic than other cultures, appreciating low-cost activities and the more simple things in life. In other words, they focus on experiences instead of stuff. A strong emphasis is put on quality time and sharing meals together as a family in a cozy atmosphere. Priority is given to maintaining cherished relationships and supporting their communities. Yes, these countries have harsh weather, but these people are a hearty bunch who show their appreciation for nature and the great outdoors year-round. In winter, most Norwegians aren't sitting in their houses all depressed. They can be found skiing, dog sledding, snowboarding, snowshoeing, and enjoying the spectacular northern lights. During summer months, they take advantage of the warmer weather to hike, swim, cycle, and sail. In the end, this confirms that happiness has less to do with money and success more to do with spirituality, our relationship with others, gratitude, a giving attitude, and being present and mindful. And maybe adding a little more hygge to our lives. So go ahead, eat that pastry guilt-free, invite friends over for a glass of wine by the fire, or luxuriate in a candlelit bath. Savor the moment, and let the warm, fuzzy feelings flow. Chapter 4. Understanding Danish Culture. 3 things that define the Danes. When moving to a new country, an expat will be confronted by many new experiences and cultural differences. In order to assimilate, it is most beneficial to understand some of these cultural differences. When you start to understand the Danish way of life, being an expat becomes easier. Here are a few insights to help you along your way. Jantelov, or jantelov, consists of 10 commandments that state that everyone in Denmark is equal. Everyone should be treated the same. Everyone should conform and not stand out. The Danes still hold this concept to heart, so it is wise to understand that concept. Trying to be special or to stand out will not help endear you in Danish society. Family life is very important in Danish society, and family becomes before work or nearly anything else. This is reflected in the typical 37-hour work week, so that parents can pick up their children from school and spend time with them. Families still eat together and do lots of activities as a family. Women have a very flexible maternity leave, and as well as men being able to take paternal leave after the birth of their children. Many parents are away from their jobs for 3 to 6 months without any negative impact on their career or hostility from their co-workers or company. It is very common for work schedules to revolve around the family life and not the other way around. Children are welcome to accompany their parents to work. There are very few places where children are not welcome. The country is safe for children to play outside alone without supervision. People are always shocked to see babies and baby strollers sleeping outside restaurants, stores, or homes while the parents are inside shopping, eating, or doing other things. Hygge is another important aspect of life in Denmark, and you will hear this term used a lot in connection with social occasions. Hygge is not easy to translate, but the Danish to English dictionary describes it as coziness, comfortable, cheerful atmosphere, pleasant time. Hygge can be used as an adjective, verb, or noun. The Danes love to hygge with family and friends. That usually consists of sitting around drinking, eating, talking, and enjoying each other's company, and having lots of candles lit. Lighting candles in Denmark is a natural obsession. The Danes love candles. Even at work, people like to hygge. The workplace should be an enjoyable place to be. The term is also used to describe a person's home. It is very hyggelig, meaning it is a cozy and inviting home. People also say, I had a hyggelig time, meaning I enjoyed myself. It is always better to say, det var hyggelig, than thank you for a nice time. Chapter 5. The way to be happy is to be a Norwegian, or to live like one as much as possible. Introduction. Forget about trying to be happy as a clam at high water. You can do better, provided you're not a bivalve mollusk free for a while from the attention of predators. Instead, start thinking, acting, and living like a Norwegian. Why? Because according to the latest reports of a UN agency, Norway is the happiest place on earth. While that's no guarantee you won't still be despondent, disconsolate, and downcast, it might help. A reading of the World Happiness Report suggests it's worth a try. You could probably be a happier person if you would just be more Denmarkian, Icelandish, Swiss-like, or Finnish. The next happiest people in the world after the Norskies. But why settle for less than number 1? Norway is number 1. What makes the Norwegians so happy? The first thing to know is that there is no happiness magic bullet. Many things must come together to create a climate for happiness to break through the clouds of gloom and melancholy. The UN report assigned high importance to Norway's superb levels of economic strength, social support, life expectancy, freedom, the generosity of the people, and low levels of crime, corruption, and constipation. Consider the latter an interpretive reading between the lines of the report variables. No mention was made of competing triathlons, attendance at national wellness conferences, subscriptions to the AWR. Individuals in America can't do much about the above-noted system-wide perturbations, but people can influence their own fates in other ways. For instance, consider the following changes to boost prospects of at least some degree of increased happiness. Seek white-collar jobs, but settle for any collar job rather than none. Seek well-paying jobs. If you are stuck in a blue-collar job that pays badly, take comfort in the report finding that an extra $100 of salary is worth much more to someone at the lower end of the income distribution than someone already earning much more. Abandon all hope of finding happiness from gaining more power over the world. This is shown to be ineffective for making humans happier and more satisfied with life. Over the course of thousands of years, humans have gained enormous power over the world, but it doesn't seem to make people significantly more satisfied than when they were in the Stone Age. Don't ask me how they know that. Focus on coziness and relaxation. The Nordic countries for 5 years have consistently dominated the top spots in the survey. The Danish concept of hygge, coziness and relaxation, seems to be a key factor in such success. Real wellness equations for happiness. Readers of the delightful daily feature called A Word a Day recently sent in happiness-related equations, a few of which may be of special interest given the UN report. Equation for calculating overall family happiness by Ted Palomäki. If F is overall family happiness, then F equals 0.1H plus K plus 10W. H equals husband's happiness, K equals kids' happiness, and W equals wife's happiness. Equation for calculating happy marriage by Daniel Fisher. Happy wife equals happy life. Equation for calculating happiness in old age by Michael Smout. If A is happiness in old age, then A equals X plus Y plus Z, where X is someone to talk to, Y is something to do, and Z is something to look forward to. Not to be outdone, Grant Donovan, Down Under happiness wellness expert and polymath orator with whom we'll be presenting a session on happiness at the upcoming June NWC, calculated the following formula, which he called the Ardell happiness equation. H equals F plus C plus EE plus M plus WM. This means happiness ensues when these elements marked by the letter symbols are present. Specifically, F equals possessing the mental freedom to think and say anything. C equals having the rational capacity to think critically and question everything. EE equals eating well and exercising liberally. M equals embracing the inherent meaninglessness of your life. And WM equals experiencing multiple wellness orgasms on a daily basis. Summary. There you go. Recognize the wisdom in the UN report and adapt your thinking and lifestyle to its findings about Norwegians and their neighbour countries. Learn the happiness formulas, especially the last one noted, and you should not only be more like the Norse people, but help America rise in the rankings of happiest nations. Think of it as your patriotic duty to be happier. Chapter 6. Peace of Mind, the Danish Way. Who would think that the Danes have a secret that we can all cherish? The Danes seem to be the happiest people in the world. So what is their secret? In North America, we seem to be pushed to the brink. We rush, overwork, don't sleep well, overstress, and are miserable. We overwork so that we can overpurchase and overconsume. The result is that we are unhappy, unhealthy, and we are dying younger than ever before. So what we need to do is to step back from the so-called rat race, where the only person who seems to be the happiest is the one who has somehow stopped all of this nonsense and actually stopped to smell the roses at least once a day. But we usually categorize such people as lazy or something else that is nonetheless negative in nature. So what can the Danes teach us about happiness? They can teach us a lot. In this chapter we examine a few of the ways that we can try a few simple habits that will actually make us happier and healthier. 1. Take some time to rest and relax a few times a day. Once in the middle of the day, once in the late afternoon, and once in the evening. During your rest times, don't text or use other technologies. Don't watch television. Just sit down and relax with a cup of tea or coffee. 2. Do a simple meditation a few times a day, preferably in the morning and evening. If you could manage one in the afternoon, all the better. Meditation doesn't have to be complicated. It could be as simple as sitting down in a comfortable chair, taking a few deep breaths, setting a timer for 10 minutes, closing your eyes, and focusing on your breath. When the buzzer goes off, signaling the end of your 10 minutes, open your eyes slowly and just take a few seconds to feel how good it is to be relaxed. Then you can resume your normal activities. 3. Live in the moment as much as possible. Try not to overthink situations or aspects of your day. Instead, try and focus on your breath a few times a day. Take the time to enjoy the view wherever you are. There is always something beautiful around us. All we have to do is look and see it. 4. Commune with nature. This could be a simple walk in the park or just getting outside on your lunch hour and seeking a quiet green area. This can restore your energy and help you feel much more relaxed. It can also help you to center and to live in the moment, not in the past or future. By taking these steps, you will be gaining more peace of mind. This can help you feel a lot healthier and happier. And when the weekend comes, you could practice more of these tips. It will completely restore your peace of mind and equilibrium. Chapter 7. How to get through a miserable winter with the Danish concept of hygge. For some, the winter is a magical time of year. For others like me, it's a gloomy, cold darkness you just have to wait out. But there's a better way to get through winter. A mindset that involves embracing the unique aspects of the winter months. Enter the Danish concept of hygge. Hygge, which is actually a word of Norwegian origin, is pronounced hygge and loosely translates to coziness. But while coziness is a major piece of the puzzle, hygge is really more of an attitude or mindset. It's a feeling many of us feel when we go home for the holidays. But it doesn't have to go away when you head back to the real world. And believe me, the Danish know what they're talking about. They have some of the longest, harshest winters, yet they're one of the happiest countries in the world. Here are some tips on how you can achieve hygge this winter and hopefully enjoy it more than usual. Double down on coziness. It may not be the true definition of hygge, but getting physically cozy can still help. Basically, become an expert at hunkering down at home and getting as comfortable as possible. Reading a book by the fire with a hot drink is hygge. So is eating homemade baked goods while watching TV under a mountain of blankets. You can never have enough blankets, pillows, warm socks, hot drinks, or cuddling with your pet or significant other. Ditch the fluorescent lights and use other types of lighting to your advantage to make big rooms feel smaller and warmer. Light tons of candles, use lamps with warm, soft-lit bulbs, and get a fire going in the fireplace if you have one. If not, even a TV with a fake fireplace video can help. It's all about transforming your home to match the aesthetics of the season, so it feels like an impenetrable fortress of happiness and warmth. Think of winter as your time to hibernate and your warm home as your bear cave. Use the winter as an excuse to do all of the things you've been putting off. Cuddle up on the couch and finally finish that book. Stay under your covers and get through that TV show everyone has been talking about, or hop in the bath and listen to your backlog of podcasts. Do those things you won't have time for once the weather clears up and you want to go outside instead. Gather with good company as often as you can. The winter often dwindles the amount of time you spend with others. Harsh cold, foul weather and dangerous roads make gatherings and outings a hassle. But companionship and friendliness is an essential aspect of hygge, and the Danish believe maintaining strong social connections are good for the soul. There are two ways to go about hygge-style gatherings. First, you can organize regular, relaxed meetups with friends or family at someone's home with snacks, treats, and delicious drinks. These gatherings are about nothing more than indulging and having a nice time. So invite your friends over, have some cake, coffee, cider, donuts, or whatever you like, and just spend time chatting in your cozy living room and enjoying each other's company. The more often you do this, the better. Pro tip: bust out the seasonal items to truly embrace what the winter has to offer. Beers, cookies, and anything else that is exclusive to this time of year. If you don't have a comfy home, you can have hygge-style gatherings in cozy restaurants, bars, cafes, or even bookstores. Don't let those comfy couches at the local coffee shop go to waste, where you can keep warm, have coffee, and play tons of games for cheap. And if you're on your own in a new place, the Lonely Planet Guide to Copenhagen suggests hygge participants don't even have to be people you know. Post up at a cozy cafe or bar, and try to make some new friends. Appreciate winter wonderlands in the right gear. Just because it's freezing out doesn't mean you don't need a little activity, even if it's just a walk. Get a nice jacket, pair of gloves, boots, hats, snow pants, whatever you need to step outside and feel 100% comfortable. Again, not warm enough, 100% comfortable. And when you do go outside, consider doing activities you can only do during the winter. It could be skiing, snowboarding, ice skating, sledding, or having a snowball fight. Try to appreciate the activities, sights, and sounds you can only experience during this time of year, and you'll stop wishing it was summer already. Slow down and find joy in the little things. Not only is HYGGE about pursuing mental well-being, it's about finding joy in the most humdrum aspects of life. Find a way to make mundane tasks fun. Turn daily to-dos into a game. Make chores something to look forward to by treating yourself, and let the mundanity of daily life be a catalyst for whimsy. HYGGE is as much about mindfulness as it is about coziness and a sense of belonging. It's about being more connected to the real world and showing gratitude for what you have. Viking sums up the essence of HYGGE as the pursuit of everyday happiness. It's using the winter months to focus on the simple pleasures in life, strive for relaxation and comfort, and pursue togetherness on a daily basis. When you look at winter through a lens like that, it feels a whole lot warmer. Who knows, you might even start to miss winter come springtime. Chapter 8. HYGGE, a heartwarming lesson from Denmark. A UK college has started teaching students the Danish concept of HYGGE, said to make homes nicer and people happier. But what exactly is it, and is it exportable? Sitting by the fire on a cold night, wearing a woolly jumper while drinking mulled wine and stroking a dog, probably surrounded by candles, that's definitely HYGGE. Eating homemade cinnamon pastries, watching TV under a duvet, tea served in a china set, family get-togethers at Christmas. They're all HYGGE too. The Danish word, pronounced HYGGE, is usually translated into English as coziness. But it's much more than that, say its aficionados. An entire attitude to life that helps Denmark to vie with Switzerland and Iceland to be the world's happiest country. Morley College in central London is teaching students how to achieve HYGGE as part of its Danish language course. We have long, cold winters in Denmark. That influences things. HYGGE doesn't have to be a winter-only thing, but the weather isn't that good for much of the year. With up to 17 hours of darkness per day in the depths of winter, and average temperatures hovering around 0 degrees, people spend more time indoors as a result, meaning there's greater focus on home entertaining. HYGGE could be families and friends getting together for a meal with the light dimmed, or it could be time spent on your own reading a good book. It works best when there's not too large an empty space around the person or people. The idea is to relax and feel as at home as possible, forgetting life's worries. The recent growth in Scandinavian-themed restaurants, cafes and bars in the UK is helping to export HYGGE, with their intimate settings, lack of uniformity in decor, and concentration on comforting food. Most customers won't have heard of the term, but they might get a sense of it. In the US, the wallpaper and fabric firm HYGGE West explicitly aims to channel the concept through its cheery designs, as does a Los Angeles bakery called HYGGE, which sells traditional Danish pastries and treats. The rest of the world seems to be slowly waking up to what Danes have been wise to for generations. That having a relaxed, cozy time with friends and family, often with coffee, cake or beer, can be good for the soul. Uncovering the secrets of the world's happiest country. HYGGE seems to be about being kind to yourself, indulging, having a nice time, not punishing or denying yourself anything. All very useful come January, when in the UK everyone's on diets or manically exercising or abstaining from alcohol. There isn't so much enforced deprivation in Denmark. Instead, you're kinder to yourselves and so each other. Danes don't binge, then purge. There's not much yo-yo dieting in Denmark. No wonder they're happier than we are in the UK. The adjectival form of HYGGE is hyggeligt, a word offered as a compliment to a host after a pleasant evening at their home. Hygge isn't just a middle-class thing. Absolutely everyone's at it, from dustbin men to the mayor. This is probably illegal, but Vikings don't tend to be too hung up on health and safety. Most HYGGE experience to date was probably watching the sunset from a hot tub in a blizzard in January, beer in hand. But it needn't be anything quite so dramatic. Origin of HYGGE. Term comes from a Norwegian word meaning well-being. First appeared in Danish writing in the 19th century and has since evolved into the cultural idea known in Denmark today. It's interesting that the word doesn't really translate into other languages. HYGGE isn't restricted to Denmark, so why is it so hard to describe without borrowing a Danish word? Sometimes you see or do things that you would call hyggeligt in the UK, but you wouldn't use that word to describe them because people wouldn't know what you're talking about. Some older Danes feel that HYGGE isn't what it used to be, as the stress on socializing has lessened. It's now considered hyggeligt to watch TV alone or watching a DVD set, perhaps while eating crisps. Chapter 9. 11 Ways to Embrace the HYGGE Lifestyle and Find More Joy. Have you ever had a wonderful night sitting by the fire with a glass of cocoa, enjoying the company of your loved ones, and just thought, this is the life? Well, that, my friend, is HYGGE. Have you woken up on a chilly morning, lit a candle, wrapped yourself in a blanket, and read a book? HYGGE again. Escaped a stormy night by sitting around the dinner table discussing current events with friends? That's HYGGE, baby. HYGGE, pronounced Hygge, is a Scandinavian way of life that celebrates coziness, shared meals, and companionable interactions with loved ones, emphasizing warmth, kinship, and appreciation for the little things. HYGGE is a perspective on life that started in Denmark and has contributed to the nation's consistently high happiness ratings. Now, in times of stress and unrest, more Americans are turning to HYGGE as a way to find happiness from within. Many see HYGGE as an excellent form of self-care, especially during seasons when weather-related depression runs high. By embracing the indoors, welcoming others into your home, and taking plenty of time to treat yourself to little luxuries, HYGGE is the ideal way to combat seasonal affective disorder. The search term HYGGE has skyrocketed in popularity on Pinterest, and the inspirational social networking site is embracing the concept wholeheartedly. The Pinterest team even decided to celebrate the old Danish concept of embracing the cold months, living cozily, and reveling in the joys of warm cocoa, soft blankets, and the company of great friends, with a board called Teach Me How to HYGGE, which captures the cozy joys of the HYGGE lifestyle. While high season for HYGGE is winter, the Danish Tourism Board assures us that it can be experienced year-round. If you want to HYGGEify your home, here are some ways to incorporate the peaceful, Nordic lifestyle into your own everyday habits. Chapter 10. How to HYGGE. Embrace the cozy Danish concept. The winter nights are drawing in on a world which seems to get busier and more hectic every day, and the need to sit back, relax, and enjoy the small things in life has never been more prevalent. With stress levels rising in many countries across the globe, the Danes have established themselves as lovers of calm, and in turn, consistently top of the polls as the happiest people on earth, along with many other Scandinavian countries. It is frequently argued that this is all down to HYGGE. The concept of HYGGE is one which graces every walk of Scandinavian people's lives, and news of this lifestyle has been spreading quickly for the last few years, crossing international borders to spread warmth wherever the idea touches. Tips to HYGGE in the home. 1. Invest in candles. Rumoured as one of the largest consumers of candles in the world per capita, Denmark and other Scandinavian countries have embraced the power of the warming glow of candlelight. Whether scented or unscented, candlelight transforms the clean, fresh style of classic Scandinavian interiors into a flickering escape from winter's chill and a simple lit candle is seen as one of the most fundamental hygge moments to achieve. Danish brand Skandinavisk have even developed a hygge fragrance with notes of brewed tea, baked strawberry cake, rose petals, and wild mint for the ultimate hygge experience. 2. Add texture. When you think of cozy and warming interiors to create the perfect relaxing moment, the mind instantly goes to lusciously soft textures which add another dimension to any interior. Think chunky knit cushions, faux fur throws, and fluffy woolen rugs. Made from the softest of materials, from merino wool to cashmere, textured accessories are a huge trend of the moment, with the layering of different tactile surfaces creating a styled look in any room, and when combined with a roaring fire or soft candlelight, there is no setting more hygge. Number 3. Remember the simple things in life are hygge. You don't need to overhaul your interior to make it more hyggelicht. Tiny additions to the home can transform any moment. Treating yourself to your favorite coffee, indulging in new bubble bath for long dips by candlelight, or finally putting your favorite photographs on the wall are all instant mood lifters. Whenever you see them, so take the time to enjoy them. 4. Update your loungewear. Comfortable loungewear needn't be an extravagance, with nearly all types of clothing brands now offering varieties. From loose tops to harem trousers or onesies, the clothing options to get comfy in after a day at the office or over a weekend in are endless, with countless patterns to express your personality or classic colours for timeless style. Ranging from practical cotton to the softest of cashmere, loungewear can be as luxurious or relaxed as you personally desire, making it an essential component of hygge. 5. Hygge with friends. Primarily a social endeavour, hygge is best enjoyed with friends. The long Scandinavian winter nights are interspersed with hyggelicht gatherings of friends and family by the fireside, drinking glögg, mulled wine, and eating wholesome food. So the best way to experience this idea for yourself is to invite your nearest and dearest round and get cooking. Not just reserved for staying inside, hygge can also be found in the great outdoors, and joy can be found from simply donning your warmest clothes and going on a winter walk with your favourite people. The notion of hygge can also be used to uplift others, so test out your baking skills and take your creation round to a friend's house you haven't seen in a while to indulge in a spot of hygge together. 6. Take up a new hobby or practice an old one. Taking up new hobbies to enjoy in the home allows you to switch off and refocus the mind. Turn off the TV and grow to love something new that you can nurture during your hygge moments in the home, or pick up something you used to love to do but don't have time for anymore. Crafty hobbies such as knitting or sewing, which have been gaining in popularity in recent years, are perfect to teach yourself and help to relax and calm your being, or curling up and reading a good book for a few solitary hours will have you refreshed in no time. 7. Don't rush. We're always rushing, aren't we? We always have somewhere to be, and we're always thinking about the next thing we have to do whilst doing the thing before. To truly hygge, you need to slow down a bit to take it all in. There will always be something else to think or worry about, but this concept teaches you to take each moment as it is without rushing on to the next. Take the time to really enjoy the mug of coffee you have made. Stay an extra 10 minutes in the bath to ensure daily stresses have melted away, and definitely savour that slice of cake, or you'll regret it later. 8. Don't overdo. Hygge is never about extravagance. Indulgence, yes, but extravagance, no. Hygge settings are not about wowing or impressing guests. They are about creating a warm and inviting atmosphere that friends and family never want to leave. Dinners don't need to be styled to perfection with a 10-course tasting menu, and parties don't need a long list of cocktails accompanied by an out-of-this-world playlist to be enjoyed. take gatherings back to basics for a more natural, laid-back feel. 9. Enjoy the space around you. The key idea behind HYGGE is to enjoy the environment around you, and nowhere is this more essential than in the home. Each room needs to be a sanctuary to sink into at any given moment, and therefore filled with key items to allow you to do this. Due to increasingly stressful lives, an emphasis is placed on the need to escape the everyday to experience true relaxation. HYGGE fights against this notion, demonstrating that overall well-being can be enhanced by making small changes to everyday environments, relieving the need to escape at all. So whatever you are doing, take the time to revel in the tiny moments that make you smile and uplift the soul. 10. Remember, HYGGE isn't just for winter. Whilst HYGGE is frequently associated with coziness, it is a way of life which can be enjoyed all year round. Grab your friends and head to the local park for a picnic or a game of frisbee, or take some time to sit out in the sun with your favourite magazine and a cold drink to experience HYGGE in the warmer months. Taking everyday dining occasions into the garden is also a must for summer HYGGE moments, to make the most of the sun before winter rolls in again and it's time to bring out the chunky knits and candles. Chapter 11. Denmark's HYGGE aesthetic is comfy, cozy, and complicit with the rise of xenophobic populism. This winter, in preparation for what looks to be a terrifying year, millions of people traumatized by the ceaseless death and social turmoil of 2016 have decided to crawl back into the womb. Their return to fetal bliss is an Instagram-ready remake of the second half of The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, complete with knitted sweaters, adult colouring books, and copious cups of calming teas. There are candles everywhere. With a bilious mess of Daddy Didn't Love Me assuming the US presidency in a matter of days, and Britain slowly inching its way out into the Atlantic, HYGGE, the Danish aesthetic import that elaborates comfort into a life philosophy, has crept towards the English-speaking West at just the right time. The endless stream of books published on the subject stress the benefits of Ugg-booted inertia and snug living rooms, covers pulled right up around adherents' necks against the chilly world outside. These stocking filler texts drive us towards a definition too. The little book of HYGGE has it as coziness of the soul. HYGGE, the Danish art of happiness, compares it to a compass, steering us towards small moments that money cannot buy. It's with a terrifying but unwitting accuracy, though, that Helen Russell in The Year of Living Danishly calls HYGGE a complete absence of anything annoying or emotionally overwhelming. HYGGE is against conflict and discomfort, distrustful of newness or challenging viewpoints. It is a closed system. HYGGE is very gentle. There is no discussion of politics or anything controversial that makes you feel uptight. This all makes sense. A collective craving for childlike comforts in response to social trauma is a psychoanalytic classic. It was Carl Jung who wrote in The Practice of Psychotherapy, "The patient's regressive tendency is not just relapse into infantilism, but an attempt to get at something necessary. The universal feeling of childhood innocence, the sense of security or protection, or reciprocated love, of trust." He was a half sentence away from extolling the virtues of homemade yogurt, eye contact with close family, and a deep, abiding HYGGE. HYGGE turning inward against the world outside comes with a more sinister edge, however. As Charlotte Higgins pointed out in her deep dive for The Guardian last month, HYGGE's ties to the far right in Denmark are remarkably strong. Anti-immigrant Danish People's Party has publicly extolled the virtues of the lifestyle, insisting that her office remain cozy and HYGGE-lig at all times. Denmark's welfare state and reputation for tolerance may be admired by progressives in the UK and US, but, as Higgins points out, The country's love of Hygge-fied thatched cottages with closed doors suggests a conservative undercurrent. Anything that threatens that safe community, including alien values and ideologies, cannot be tolerated. Indeed, Denmark has been struggling with its colonial legacy lately. A rise in the number of refugees over the past 2 years has uncovered the limits of Denmark's famously progressive outlook. The government can now seize any item worth more than $1,450 from a refugee in order to pay for their sustenance and upkeep in the country. And, after slashing refugee benefits last year, the government advertised the news in Lebanese newspapers just to be sure that the country didn't seem quite so attractive to the newcomers. The far-right Danskernes Party, or Danes Party, handed out asylum spray in the port town of Hidderslev in September. Pepper spray being illegal, they filled the cans with hairspray instead, but the message remained hideously clear. We wanted to figure out a way for Danish people, in particular women, to protect themselves. In the short run, we want to provide solutions to make life better and safer for the Danish people. If his words sounded a little hyggelig, it's no coincidence. Poured into Hygge's candlelit sweetness like a cloying cream filling are inevitable and explicit cases of xenophobia and racism. In their recent study of online communities in Denmark, Ahmed Bartwagi and Thomas Schmidt explored the Hygge of the closed chat room. In one instance, this sense of community was fostered with what one user referred to as a little hyggelig racist joke. This online interaction had an unsavory conclusion. The rapid escalation saw the opponent being addressed in uppercase text and accused of both not speaking Danish and being homosexual. Though such bullying, the researchers write, would not ordinarily be particularly hyggelig, the abuse came from a user with the word hygge in their username. With racist, homophobic abuse online being a cornerstone of right-wing populism today, this little hyggelig anecdote should raise doubts about just how apolitical Hygge can claim to be. Chapter 12. 19 Cozy, Comforting Items to Get Your Hygge On. Make your home your happy place. You've likely heard of hygge, that Danish word loosely meaning cozy. Everyone's been loving it recently because, let's be honest, when the weather gets cold, who doesn't want to curl up in a big fluffy sweater, wrap yourself up in soft faux fur blankets, and lounge around watching Netflix? If this doesn't sound like heaven to you, I'm not sure you should keep listening. But if you're on board, and really can't imagine who wouldn't be, these items will help you achieve hygge nirvana. After all, this is all in the good name of self-care, which is definitely at the top of everyone's to-do lists for 2018. To get in the hygge mindset, one of the first things you can do is create the ideal environment to hygge, meaning lots of candles, cozy blankets, and loungewear. Although you don't need all of these items to feel cozy, a hot cup of tea, a good book, and soft lighting can give you the same warm feeling. These items can definitely help set the hygge mood. Light up your night with 1,000,000 candles, and then settle in for a long winter with these 19 items. Pilgrim Tea, $80. Creating a home that's welcoming and calming as soon as you walk in the front door is a great way to get in the hygge mood. This beautiful ceramic and beechwood diffuser can have you breathing in eucalyptus or whatever oil is soothing to you within minutes of you getting home. Mark & Graham suede slippers, $40. The faux shearling lining in these backless slide slippers makes them an instant hygge hit. P.F. Candle Company, No. 2, Juniper, $42. A candle that'll make your entire apartment smell like juniper berries, pine, and fir needle is an instant way to get your hygge on. Brookline Twill Duvet Cover, $159. Made with long staple cotton, this twill duvet cover will coat your bed in a luxuriously soft fabric. Self Aloe-infused cozy socks, $8. Thick socks are a must to keep your feet warm in the winter. The softer the socks, the comfier your toes. Target Mongolian faux fur throw pillow, $19. You're going to want something fur-related in addition to cozy slippers. This blue faux fur pillow is just the pillow to help you relax. Target large knit throw pillow, $20. Chunky knit means big comfort. We'd recommend stockpiling these to create your very own pillow cozy space. Airy plush sleep legging, $20. Post-work, a pair of super soft leggings helps transition you into relaxation mode. These striped ones come with pockets, a tie waist, and plush fabric. Self Body Care Travel Robe, $35. A robe is the ultimate hygge layer. Throw this over whatever you find most comfortable in, then Netflix and chill. Anthropologie's faux fur collared cardigan, $198. In case you don't have time in your day to fit in some hygge, this is a socially acceptable way to get your hygge on outside the house. While it looks great with jeans, we're betting it can look great with some velour joggers too. Forever 21 knit velvet joggers, $12. Speaking of velour pants, these are a blast from the past. Hey Juicy Couture, that are definitely made to be worn both in and out of the house. Urban Outfitters Crow Canyon Home XUO Speckled Mug, $10. You'll love this cute mug to hold whatever hot liquid you choose to calm down with at the end of the day, whether that's mint tea or a hot toddy. Kate Spade All in Good Taste Tea Kettle, $50. If you don't have a pretty tea kettle, it's a good time to buy one. Select whichever colour calms you as soon as you look at it. Colour at Home, a Young House Love colouring book, $11. Since you'll be spending a lot more time at home to practice hygge, what better way to get design inspo than a soothing colouring book? Fuzzy Furry Scarf, $29. In soothing colours like lilac, rose, and a light olive, we have a feeling you won't want to take this scarf off all winter long. Velvet Hair Scrunchie Set, $12. Your hair deserves some softness too. These velvet-covered scrunchies are just as soft on your hair as they are on your wrist. The 90s are back, so embrace the trend. Quarter Lane Juniper Books Box, $150. Curling up next to a fire in a cozy sweater calls for a good book. Pick from one of Quarter Lane's boxes filled with 5 or more books, a print to hang on your wall, and a few other special goodies that'll bring peace to your space. Linden Grey Area Rug, $30. Depending on how large your space is, an easy way to permanently cover it in hygge is to throw this area rug on your floor. It makes sitting on the floor surrounded by pillows easy. Who even needs a couch? Self-Soothing Gel Eye Mask in Sapphire, $10. While this gel eye mask may be a little on the cool side, its soothing properties are totally hygge related. Use the mask to reduce puffiness around your eyes, or simply block the world out for a few moments and relax. Chapter 13, Conclusion. Remember hygge? Hygge was the busiest lifestyle trend of 2016, a Danish word meaning all things simple and cozy, like a crackling fireplace, cups of cocoa, and thick wool socks. But that was ages ago, and after a year like 2017, we're in desperate need of a new buzzy word to remind us of the good things in life. So Scotland, land of craggy rocks and wind-blown moors, has given us Kosaga. Hygge, pronounced hygge, is Danish for cozy, warm, or homey. It is also a national pastime in Denmark, one that is expressed in homespun pleasures involving candlelight, knitted socks, coffee, cake, family, and friends. It's a good way to cope with long, dark winters too. This has been hygge, The Happy Danish Art of Life, written by Victor Frantzen, narrated by Thomas Cassidy. Copyright 2018 by Victor Frantzen. Production copyright 2018 by Victor Frantzen.